Buenas and half a day, everybody. Welcome to Living on Guam PCS Homes and Lifestyle. My name is Leah Del Mundo, and I'm one of the team leaders here on Guam PCS Homes and Lifestyle. And as I had announced on our page and on different platforms, we are going live today. We are starting our series on VA lenders. And so I would like to say thank you very much to our first guest. They were the first to respond and willing to do the interview and give the information that would be helpful to you folks. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Ms. Teresa Guevara of Bank Pacific. Teresa, hello.
Hello, everybody. Half a day viewers. I'm Teresa Guevara with Bank Pacific. I'm Vice President, Senior Marketing Officer with Residential Lending. Welcome, and we're here to share information with you today.
Very good. Thank you so much, Teresa. So what we're talking about today is regarding VA. But can you tell them more about Bank Pacific? Because a lot of our audience, our viewers, they're not here on Guam. They're still PCSing to Guam. And so they want to know, who is Bank Pacific? Could you shed some light and let us know who you are?
Bank Pacific is a local lender. We are FDIC insured. We do offer VA home loans, conforming loans, and our loans are also regulated by regulators. So we have compliance regulatory procedures that we have to follow. So same type of loans that are being offered stateside with mortgage residential lending, we have that available here with our VA home loan. We're a local bank. We offer conventional VA loans and other land loan products in the event that you may want to construct and build a brand new home versus buying a home that's already been constructed. We're located in the capital of Guam, which is Agotnya, and our main primary lending location is here in our main office in Agotnya, and we have our loan center. It's also known as Sagan de Majel. We do have loan officers available, myself as the senior marketing officer, and our loan manager to assist clients if they need any assistance regarding financing, pre-qualification, and general information regarding loan programs and reflecting VA loans to help veterans who want to engage in mortgage financing for private primary residence.
Okay, so we are this afternoon. We're talking about VA loans. So, who can apply for a VA loan for Guam home purchases?
VA home loans are available for active duty members of the armed forces, reservists, retirees, prior service to the armed forces. VA home loans are available for veterans that have the entitlement for VA home loans.
So I'm curious, for our military dependents, are they eligible? I mean, can they also apply for VA loans?
VA entitlements are offered to the veteran himself and a spouse. The VA entitlement is not transferable down to their children, dependents, or immediate family members. So in order to engage in a VA loan, VA loans are the veteran himself. He could be the veteran, your active duty service, and a spouse.
Okay. So you had mentioned earlier that if the active member or the veteran, for example, passes, the spouse can apply.
If the veteran disability or death is caused by service-connected disability, then the spouse, the process goes through VA to determine if the surviving spouse would continue to carry the entitlement on a VA home loan. So it's just depending on the veteran status to determine if the surviving spouse has the entitlement for a VA home loan.
Okay, so that answers that question. I wanted to inquire, I have a lot of clients that are not on Guam yet. They are PCSing to Guam. Can they apply even if they're not yet on Guam? Can they apply for a VA loan if they're not yet on Guam?
Well, it depends. We would like to know what would be their arrival date on island. they would be able to submit their application via email. But we will also to identify who the borrowers are. Working through an application online is we still would need to follow a lot of our compliance regulatory procedures to ensure that we are dealing with the right individuals on the application. Due to the personal information that's disclosed on the application or information that the lender will also have to identify and to verify.
Okay, so your Bank Pacific requires actually meeting the borrower or borrowers in person at least once prior to closing.
Prior to closing, so it could be the active duty military came to Guam to search for a property. As long as the veteran or the active duty military member and spouse had walked into the bank and we had identified and met who they are, which we also verified their identity, that's a way that we could document that we had met the applicants prior to submitting an application. Of course, we will also obtain a copy of their photo IDs, and should they decide that they have to go back to their active duty site where they're still serving, we can still work with them via email or express mail of what documents they need to send to us. And with internet, there's security reasons that we also follow to ensure that their informations are secured.
Okay, I have a question also, connected to that. Can they apply to any other lending institution that does not do business on Guam? So let's say, for example, can they apply with a Bank of America or a USAA? Can they apply for a VA loan for a home that they're planning to purchase on Guam?
Generally, that's dependent on the lender. I can't answer or give recommendations for another lender. But if the lender is authorized to do business and is licensed to engage on mortgage financing on Guam, that may be allowed. There are some lenders we have on island that are their main branches are stateside. They're authorized to do business on Guam with mortgage financing. So it's just dependent what lender they're dealing with and if they're able to engage in financing properties located in Guam.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. Now, let's move on to the next question. What are acceptable properties for VA loans, Teresa?
Acceptable properties for a VA home loan is a single dwelling residential, up to 4 units. It could be a duplex, as long as the veteran is going to occupy 1 unit, a triplex, as long as the veterans will occupy 1 unit, or a 4-unit apartment or a 4-unit townhome, as long as the veteran is going to occupy 1 unit. The key there is the veteran has to occupy one of those units. If it's a duplex, veteran could live in 1 unit, rent out the other, but the property is occupied by the veteran. Okay,
so he needs to have it as a primary residence if it's a duplex, triplex, or fourplex.
The structures has to be a fully concrete structure.
Okay, so that was my next question. So it needs to be fully concrete. Now, what if they have an outside kitchen that is not concrete, or a patio that has, a tin roof? Will VA still finance that?
That is acceptable as long as the primary kitchen is in the main house. They may have an outside kitchen. It's either an outside kitchen like a barbecue pad or an outside porch that's semi-concrete. That's acceptable. However, in Guam, we also need to take into account that the property has to be legal conforming. So any improvement or extension into the original structure that was built, there's still setback requirements that has to be followed, and depending when these structures was also constructed on the subject property.
Okay, so you had mentioned that condos, VA loans, they can also do condominiums. Is that correct?
Right. VA has a listing of approved condos on island, very limited, but we do have some available condos that's approved by VA, which we can offer 100% financing. So if a veteran is looking at purchasing a condo, the first thing they want to also check with their realtor. have their ask the question to their realtor: is this an acceptable VA condo?
Right. Is it
If they're
VA
then
approved?
answer, the realtor can check with the lender. Right.
Yes, and what would be good too, like for members, like some of my clients, when they do look at condominiums, they always ask me, is this a good investment? So when I PCS out, is this condo military friendly? Will it attract military tenants? So that is also an insight that your realtor should be able to give you if you're deciding to rent out to military tenants in the future. Okay, so that's
Right.
good. Go ahead.
With condominiums on island, another factor to also be mindful of is condominiums on island have common area fees. So those are the kind of questions you want to ask your realtor. What's my common area fee? Because you're looking at your mortgage payment with a bank, but you also have a monthly common area fee. And you want to see if
Correct.
that's affordable for you to include the common area fee.
How about leasehold properties? Like, it's not fee simple, because we just need to explain again to our viewers, because they don't know what is a leasehold and what is fee simple. So fee simple is you own everything all the way down to the land. But if it's a leasehold, you may own the building, but the land that it's on, you do not own. So
That's
I'm
right.
curious to know if the VA covers leasehold properties, or if VA would finance leasehold properties.
Yes, there are certain conditions on some VA leasehold properties. We would have to go into the VA website. It's a VA portal that lenders have access directly with VA to take a look to see if there's any changes on these leasehold properties that are listed. A lot of the times we take a look at is we want to take a look at what is the remaining number of terms remaining on that lease. If the veteran is engaging in a 30-year mortgage, we want to ensure as the lender that there is 30 years, beyond 30 years remaining on that lease in order to engage in a 30-year financing, provided that that VA, that condominium is listed as an approved condo with
An approved
VA.
condo. Now, what about PUD projects? So what does PUD stand for? And, just answer that for now, and then we'll go deeper into the PUD project.
Land use development projects. I'll give you an example. On island, we have Paradise Estates, we have Paradise Meadows. Those are considered a PUD projects. Bargata Heights is another PUD project. So there's pockets of areas throughout the islands that are considered PUD projects. PUD projects are mainly single dwelling homes, and they are fee simple.
And VA will finance PUD projects.
And VA will finance PUD projects. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that sounds good. What is the benefit? What is the benefit of using VA loan, the VA loan guarantee program?
The benefit of using a VA guarantee program is the lender can finance up to 100% of the purchase price plus the VA funding fee. Depending on the veteran status, the funding fee will differ depending on the veteran status. We would finance 100% of the purchase price plus VA funding fee. Closing costs is a different aspect on a mortgage financing. Closing costs cannot finance on top of the purchase price. However, the maximum loan amount in a VA loan is $679,650 for our region here in Guam. The aspect of engaging in a VA loan, and this is the key, VA allows the seller to offer seller credit towards buyer's closing costs. It's not required, but it's allowed.
Okay, so I have follow-up questions to everything that you had mentioned. Will the lender finance, Bank Pacific, for example, will Bank Pacific finance less than 100% of the purchase price?
It's dependent on the veteran. If they're engaging on a VA loan, we can go below 100% of the purchase price. If the veteran says, I have a 10% down, but I still want to do a VA loan, we can do that. The benefit of processing a VA loan is private mortgage insurance is not required, versus if you did a conventional loan, private mortgage insurance will be required anything over 80% financing of the purchase price.
Okay, so you had mentioned about seller's credit and seller's concession. I still get confused, and a lot of people get confused between those two. Can you please explain it to us? What's the difference between a seller's credit and a seller's concession?
A seller's credit will assist the buyer towards the buyer's closing costs. So the cost of the loan, there is closing costs that's also disclosed to the borrowers and the buyers to let them know what is their estimated closing costs. Closing costs are third-party fees that's not financed into the loan. On a purchase transaction, closing costs cannot be financed as the buyers do not own the property. Seller concession are used as the seller may offer that I'll give you $4,000 to buy new appliances or to reinstall new ACs, or X amount of dollars to replace the electric gate. Those are things that are tangible that the buyer can use towards the home. In the event that the buyer may have any hiccups on their credit, for example, have some credit collection accounts, collection medical accounts, and want to get that clear, the seller can offer to give a seller concession to clear that out. So seller concession can be used from that, but you can only use one of the two.
So you can either use seller's credit or seller's concession. You cannot have both.
Right. So you're either gonna get a seller credit towards buyer's closing costs, or seller's concession to either purchase home furnishing or appliances, or whatever is disclosed between the buyer and the seller on the purchase contract. That is going to be the purpose of the seller concession.
Is there a max? Is there a max for a seller's credit, or is there a max for a seller's concession?
Seller's concession, the maximum is 4%. 4% of the purchase price on a seller concession. On a seller credit towards buyer's closing costs, the seller can pay a portion or all of the buyer's closing costs, with the exception of the VA funding fee.
Okay, VA funding fee. You had mentioned about the maximum loan up to 679,000, 679, 650, with so many numbers in there. What about, subsequent users? Meaning to say, I have clients that are in the States right now, in the mainland, and they have a house there that's funded by VA. Then they come to Guam, and then they want to purchase another house here, and also using VA. Can they do that? Like, is that possible?
Yeah, that's the purpose of the identify the veteran as a subsequent user. If they have a VA loan stateside, and they're PCSing and they're moving to Guam, or they're retired military moving back to Guam, they may have an entitlement remaining, and that could be determined by the lender. In order to determine what is the entitlement remaining, is the lender will need to obtain a update certificate of eligibility with VA to identify what type of entitlement was used and what is the remaining entitlement for the lender to use. The maximum loan amount on Guam is $679,650. That will be factored in based on what type of VA loan they have still showing outstanding with VA.
Got it. So you had mentioned about a VA funding fee. What is that, and will Bank Pacific finance that?
Absolutely. Bank Pacific will always take a look and consider if we're able to finance the VA funding fee. So every borrower has different scenarios and different options which way they want to go. I like to recommend that we finance funding fee on top of the purchase price. However, we do have some military active duty members that may come in and say, well, we have the cash to pay for the funding fee. We don't want to finance that. Let's just work at 100% financing. So funding fees range depending on the veteran status. On an active duty member veteran, funding fees at 2.15% of the financed amount.
Okay.
Subsequent user is at 3.30 of the finance amount. And if you're in a reserve status, never been deployed, been in the reserve minimum 6 years, your funding fee is 2.40 of the financed amount.
And this is a standard, all these percentage that you're giving me, this is a standard for all VA lenders.
This is a standard based at 100% financing.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. what are the fees that cannot be charged to the borrower? What fees cannot be charged to the borrower?
They're called non-allowable fees to the veteran when you're engaging on a VA home loan. Application fee, processing fee, notary fee, attorney's fee, a termite pest inspection fee. On a purchase contract, that is a fee that shall be at seller's cost. And escrow, it's called an escrow settlement fee, what the title company charge for their services and their research. Those are fees that cannot be charged to the veteran. So these are fees that are factored as non-allowable fees to the veteran.
Okay. Okay. So the borrowers are not supposed to be paying these fees, and then
That's
everything
right.
else is negotiable.
Yeah, all the other fees are negotiable if the seller agrees to pay more fees over the non-allowable fees. That's a plus for the veteran. That's a plus for the military member.
Then they got a good realtor. The buyer has a good realtor.
That's right. I mean, I always recommend that buyers, when you're dealing with your realtors, sit with them and identify how much money you have based on your estimated closing costs. I normally would like to stick at a range between 3 to 4% of the finance amount as your estimated closing costs. So normally when I meet a client on a pre-qualification, to give them an idea what closing costs may cost them, to see if do they have the funds for this. If they don't, that's when they would go back to their realtors and says, before we sit down and work on our contract, let's take a look and see if we can also ask for a seller credit towards my buyer's closing costs. For example, if I'm going to need 12 or 15,000 for closing costs, I like to ask the seller if he can give me 15,000 to pay towards my closing costs. And that's
what are the steps that you would recommend for a successful VA experience, Teresa?
The successful step is first obtaining a certificate of eligibility to see if you have the VA entitlement to engage in a VA loan, to determine your monthly budget to see what you can qualify for the loan. Of course, you'll be in contact with a lender to see what are your buying power with a VA loan. You want to compare your loan estimates. You may want to go to lender A, B, and C, and out of the lender, you want to take a look which is more affordable for you as the consumer. You want to choose a bank that you're able to walk in the door, make an appointment, meet your officer, be able to communicate via email or telephone, where you know that you can have a face-to-face contact with your loan officer versus having a lender where you're calling a 1-800 number and everything is automated services where you're leaving messages and you're waiting days or weeks to get a response. So I recommend that we at Bank Pacific, we're a local lender. We'd like to bring you in the door because our objective is get you in, get you approved, and let's work and let's move to get your loan closed so you can move into your home.
So I have a question, and this is a very important question because I want it to come from the lender as opposed to coming from me, the realtor. Do you suggest that the borrower pre-qualifies before shopping around?
Yes, I highly recommend that any consumer, any buyers that's engaging in mortgage financing to please walk into a bank or make an appointment and sit down and pre-qualify. What loan officers are going to need to assist you in your pre-qualification is your last 2 pay stubs, a listing of your bills, your outstanding obligation, where they're at, monthly payment, and balances. They could range from personal loans, installment loans, auto loans, student loans, any loans you may have signed for. If you have any other obligations regarding child support or alimony, I recommend you disclose that information because all that will be factored in to determine what you may qualify for.
Can a borrower pre-qualify with more than one VA lender?
Absolutely. Pre-qualification does not hit any consumer's credit report. A pre-qualification is to assist the buyers to let them know what they can qualify for. They can work with bank A, B, and C and determine with the 3 banks that they have walked in the door or made appointments to meet with loan officers to see where is their highest buying power. Bank A may give them a lower amount they qualify for. Bank B may be in the middle. Bank C may be the bank that gave them a higher amount that they qualify for. So depending on the type of property and how much they need to finance is probably going to determine which lender they're going to go
All
with.
right, hold on one second. We are freezing here. Hold on one second. Okay, when somebody pre-qualifies, how long is that pre-qualification for? How long is it good for?
Typically, a pre-qualification is good to range between 60 to 90 days. And the reason why it's a short term between 60 to 90 days, there's things that can happen with borrower's credit. If you engage in additional obligation or new credit within the time that you did a pre-qualification, the numbers can change. If you end up getting an increase on employment on your salary, that can change to bump up what you can qualify for. So the sooner you pre-qualify, the faster you go and look for property to engage in financing, because things are still very fresh there, and the chances is you may qualify for that amount that you pre-qualified for.
So I have clients that are coming into Guam, right? And they know they already had communicated with me that they want to purchase. So I tell them to pre-qualify. And so they're like in a hurry to pre-qualify. I tell them, no, not yet, because you're not coming for another 6 months. That's not good. So I would suggest to them that it's best they qualify a month out. Is that a good time frame to work with?
Even 60 days prior to coming out to pre-qualify, so that, because when they end up talking to the loan officer will recommend to them, at this point, you're looking at purchasing a home, or you intend to purchase a home. So you may want to limit using your credit cards or racking up your credit card outstanding balances, or you want to limit obtaining new loans, because we want to ensure that you can qualify for the home that you intend to purchase when you arrive in Guam.
What is the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval, Teresa?
A pre-qualification is basically just to let the buyers know what they may qualify for or what they may can qualify up to. A pre-approved normally is a lender issues a pre-approved letter. However, it's subject to verification of income and credit. So income and credit also plays a role, because when a credit report was eventually obtained, once we have a fully completed application, that can change the numbers of what the individual was pre-qualified for based on what appeared on the credit report.
So my next question is, how long does it take to close? What is the time frame that we're looking at to close a VA loan?
Typically, to close a VA loan, we're experiencing it's taking, it can take up to 90 days. I myself at Bank Pacific and several other loan officers at Bank Pacific has closed some VA loans within 30 days and within 45 days. So the hiccups on closing loans on a longer period, 90 days or beyond, there's different factors that can happen. It could be the property needed some repairs. There's some illegal non-conforming issues of setback requirements that needs to be also corrected and modified, pending approvals with Department of Land Management. It's a newly constructed home that's not completed. Notice of completion hasn't been issued, or the sellers are off island, pending documents from the seller that we can't close with escrow.
That would cost it. But if all these things are all in place, we can close 30 to 45 days.
If all these things are in place, and the key is what makes a successful closing, the loan officer, the buyer, and the realtor and the title company all work closely together with open communication, so that the chain is connected. And when everybody communicates with each other and conditions are all met, any exceptions are removed, it's achievable that we can close the loan within 45 days. I mean, like I said, I've experienced closing some VA loans within less than 30 days.
So on what basis do you recommend the borrower make a decision on choosing a lender? Like what should be their basis?
The bases are working with a loan officer that you feel comfortable, You're able to speak with them. They're responding accurately back to you. The feedback that you're getting and updates that you're getting from your loan officer on your status. If there's a question and the loan officer may need additional documents from you, you deliver it to them quickly, either via email, hand delivered. I mean, the fastest way is scan and email it to your loan officer. If there are any pending documents, to get your file prepared for closing, will achieve a successful closing.
Okay, so that is already because they're in the works already. They're like in the middle of things. But prior to picking a lender, while they're still shopping for a lender, you know, if I were the borrower, what should be my basis in choosing, you know, Bank Pacific over any other lender, for example?
It could be a buyer has an established relationship with the lender. That's one option. Meeting with a loan officer or the communication loan officer is you've got that comfort level with the loan officer. And the key is you also want to take a look, bottom line, what's going to be your end cost for engaging in this loan. So closing costs are key factors also for consumers that are engaging in mortgage financing. Is buyers want to look for the cheapest and less out-of-pocket costs of for them to come up with what they have to come up with closing costs. And selecting a local lender, I recommend working with a local lender is a positive. In the event that you need to walk in or you need you have questions regarding your file, is you have the loan officer available there. You're not treated through an automated services where you're leaving messages and you're waiting for a response. Waiting, it may take 3-4 days, may take a week or a couple weeks, and you still haven't heard back from them. So picking a local lender I highly recommend that.
We're almost wrapping up. I do have a question here. Based on today's market, 2018, and the average OHA for an active member being $24.50, what is a good price range for a buyer to work with so that they can also rent it out if they can't sell when they PCS out? Like, what's the price range?
A good price range, I would say a comfort level is between $380,000 and $420,000 as a price range. I would typically go with the lower amount of $380,000 because you're looking at a mortgage payment to include your principal, interest, and insurance at a mark at $2,400 a month. So in the event that the veteran PCS out of Guam, they're able to rent to another active duty member and are able to ensure that their rental can cover for their mortgage payments.
Got it. Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to, because what I do tell my clients is between $350 and $450. So that's a good comfort level for them. I don't recommend them to buy houses that are like 500,000, 600,000. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be hard, because the thing is we won't be able to find a lot of dual military who can rent that and cover your mortgage. So that's why I'm comfortable, and I explain this to my clients between $350 and $450. So final question, Teresa, and thank you again so much for your time. How can our viewers, if they're interested to get pre-qualification through Bank Pacific, how can they get a hold of you?
My contact number is 671-479-1166 or 671-479-1164, and that's directly to the loan manager, Molly Duenas. My email address is teresag@bankpacific.com, and that's all in lower cases.
Okay, very good.
We hope to hear from you. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in contact with myself or Molly Duenas. I'll be more than glad to gear you into the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much for your time. And for our viewers out there, we actually have like a few minutes if you'd like to ask your questions. I mean, now is the time to do it. I know there's a lot of information that was given to you, so I hope you're not having information overwhelm. The goal of this live video series is to help you folks, you know, find a lender, a VA lender here on Guam, and choose the right lender that would work for you. So you've met Teresa here on live video, who, you know, she'll be working closely with you. So if there's any questions that you would like to ask, we have a few minutes. So feel free to ask and let us know. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Teresa, for your time.
Thank you,
And
Leanne. We hope we get some hits, and we'll like to support our veterans, our active duty militaries, retirees, or reservists. If you need mortgage financing for VA or any other mortgage financing options, please give us a call, come visit us, or get in contact with one of our loan officers at Bank Pacific. Thank you.
Thank you. So, folks, we are going to go ahead and end this interview. And if you have any questions, please email me at info@livingonguam.com, or you can send a Facebook message here on the page. You can find us on our website. Our website is www.livingonguam.com. You can also find us on Twitter. You can also find us on Instagram. And a question just came in. Sorry, Teresa. I got a question for you, my love. Is the market over in Guam a buyer's market or a seller's market currently? What's your take on that, Teresa?
Depending on what type of property, we see there's options, a buyer's market and a seller's market. So there's a combination. So depending on the type of range or type of properties that you're trying to engage in purchasing would determine which way you're going to go. So far, we see it's very healthy. We have a lot of buyers looking for properties,
Yes, we do.
and when properties are listed, they're not listed for long. You got to grab them as you see them.
Right. That's very true. And that's what I've been experiencing. We have a lot of buyers right now, military buyers right now, and they're not even on Guam yet. And I always tell them, if we like a house, as soon as you get on Guam, let's start looking right away. And if you find the one, don't drag your feet on it. Let's get an offer in there, because there are other folks looking. And yeah, people would rather invest in their wealth than pay for somebody else's mortgage. So that's why they want to purchase and invest here. So anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for asking your question, Joe Stone. Thank you very much for those of you who joined us. And if you're watching us on replay, you can still send questions to me. Again, you can reach me on email, info@livingonguam.com, or you can go on our Facebook page and send me a message through Messenger. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good afternoon. Teresa? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, folks. Thank you very much. I hope this live video was helpful to you. Again, where you can reach us. It's info@livingonguam.com, or here on the Facebook page. We look forward to welcoming you to Guam. All right. Bye. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.